Alright, so welcome back everybody. So for this video I'm going to show you guys how to play Coralia. So this is the game that I'm going to be showing you guys how to play. Coralia. Okay? So this is a dice placement game. You'll notice there's a lot of dice in this game. And some over there obviously that I just happened to put. They don't go there, but I just wanted you guys all to see them before I move them aside. Now, even though this is a dice placement game, this is also a game that's very contingent on luck. It really does come down to the luck of the roll, what you roll, what color you roll, and obviously where you're actually able to place dice. And then of course it's still contingent on what cards you acquire as well. So you could have, in this game, turtles, for instance. There's turtles everywhere. In this game, turtles are worth 0 points. You might have a few turtles, but they're worth 0 points. But there's a card in there somewhere that will allow you to score for turtles, will allow you to score 3 points for each turtle you have. And if your opponent is thinking that maybe they will have at least a couple turtles at the end of the game, and they take that card, and later down the road, it's another player who has like 4 turtles, and the player who has the card that gets points based on how many turtles he has, and he has 0 turtles, well, obviously it was kind of a waste for him to get it, and obviously it also prevented other players from possibly scoring for some of their turtles. So, obviously, this is definitely very contingent on luck. Luck of the roll, luck of what cards you draw, but there's still some strategy involved. You're still having some strategic choices of where you want to place dice. You'll have the option of placing up to 4 dice on your turn. And so you will have some choices, possibly, and some are going to definitely be more strategic in a lot of ways than others. So first, let's talk about a little bit of the setup of this game before we get started showing you how to play it. Now, you can see that I've got it set up. And one of the things that you'll do is you'll first notice that we have 3 or 4, actually we have 4 sets of cards. The one on the left here is the pearl pile. So whenever you take a dice and you put it on a pearl, which is this, you're going to get to draw 2 cards from the pearl pile, okay? And at the end of the game, you're going to get some points, probably, for a lot of pearl cards, okay? That's one of the that's one of the face-down piles there is. You'll also notice each of these piles, all 4 of these, have the exact same back. But thankfully, on the other side, they all have the symbol of the pile that you're supposed to put them in, and they have these cards that you can put right next to them to indicate which pile is which. The next pile right here is the fish pile. So let's grab that. With this pile, whenever you place a dice onto a fish, like these dice are covering up this one, if you were to place it on this location and any other color that has this symbol, the fish symbol, you're going to get to draw 2 cards from the fish pile, and then you'll have to put 1 back. So you get to look at 2, and then you're going to put 1 back underneath the deck. So somebody else maybe perhaps can get it later, depending on how many are drawn. The next pile, the third one here that I have out, is the starfish pile. So here is the starfish card. With this pile, whenever you place a dice onto the starfish, okay, you're going to get to draw 3 cards, look at them, and decide which one to keep, and you'll discard the other 2, but you'll put the other 2 back to the bottom of the pile, okay? So you get to look at 3 with the starfish pile. So far we've talked about 3 of the dice placement areas. So putting a dice there gives you pearl cards. Putting a dice on the fish gives you a fish card. And putting a dice onto the starfish will give you a starfish card. Okay? Now, there's one more pile. The last pile on the right is actually the island pile. And the island pile is very small. It is made up of 3 cards from each of the other 3 piles shuffled together. So 3 of the starfish piles is in there, 3 of the fish piles, and 3 of the pearl piles are all in the island pile, which is what this is. How do you get these cards? Well, this is a dice placement game, right? If you are placing a dice and unable to place a dice, maybe all of the dice you get are covered. Maybe there's already a dice located at a certain location, and you don't have any other dice that can be placed on the reef because they're all taken by other players, or should I say other dice. Well, you can't knock the dice out of the way. You can't put the dice on top of dice. So what do you do then? Well, if you cannot place a dice because of that reasoning, or decide you don't want to place a certain dice, you can actually, if you have the option of actually placing a dice on the island because one of the 4 dice is blocked by a dice, you can do this. You can actually place that dice onto the island. You'll notice there are 2 white die on the island already. Those are acquired by special means. But you'll get to place a dice up there. And then when you do so, what's going to happen is you're going to get access to the island pile. Now, we won't talk exactly about the island pile just yet because there's something else that goes on with it. So we'll get to it momentarily. But that's how you're going to access the island pile. Okay, so let's continue with this setup. Now, if you're playing a 4-player game, there's only one dice placement setup rule that you need to do, and that is it. But in a 3-player game, in a 2-player game, that's different. It limits. In this game, if you are playing with only 2 or 3 players, you have less places that you're going to be able to place dice. The setup is actually going to cause some of the dice to cover up areas, meaning you won't be able to go there during the game, okay? Which is very interesting because you can have a completely different game. You'll notice there's 6 treasure chests. 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, and 3 up there, right? And then there's also 6 octopus. You'll notice all of the different octopus spots. And then there's even some areas where divers are going to go, okay? Those are the 3 coolest places to place your dice. And so you have access in the beginning of the game. There's 6 of each. But depending on what you roll, might block up some of those areas. So if the setup actually causes you to lose an octopus, or lose a treasure chest, I should say, which is actually, sorry, the sea turtles. Never mind on that. The 3 different areas that are cool are actually the sea turtles, the divers, and the octopus. The treasure chests are actually one and the same with the divers, okay? So the divers and the treasure chest are the same space, basically, in a sense. Alright? But yes, those areas could possibly get blocked with dice that you are placing, and then you won't be able to go there. And so it'll limit how many octopuses are going to placements you're going to be able to in the game. It might limit how many sea turtle placement areas you can have in the game. And if you're playing with 2 or 3 people, well, that will make it so only certain players will get those areas. I've played the game where one player didn't get a single sea turtle, but the other player didn't get a single octopus. So that is definitely something that could happen. Anyways, so the setup. Alright, so if you're playing with only 2 people in this game, you'll have to pick 2 colors, and you're going to have to roll the 2 colors, okay? You're going to roll them, and then based on the 2 colors that you decide to roll, let's just say these are the 2 colors I'm deciding to roll, you are going to cover up the spaces that show up on the symbols, meaning you won't necessarily cover up the entire color. There might still be some dice left over, because you might get 2 of the same symbol, and if that happens, it's not like you have to re-roll it. No, you'll just put out the symbols that you can, and the rest of the dice will get set aside for actual use in the game. So you won't necessarily lose all of that particular color. Now, if you're playing a 3-player game, you're just going to choose 1 dice, and this is what we're going to do. Okay, we're going to choose that 1 dice, because let's just say we're playing a 3-player game. You will choose that 1 set of colored dice. So I'm going to choose yellow, since yellow is a little bit harder to see, and we will roll the dice with this nice little handy dice tower. Okay, and then the symbols we have gotten, we have a octopus. So that octopus is going to get covered up. We have 2 sea turtles here. So one of the yellow sea turtle is going to get covered up. We're also going to lose the fish dice placement area for yellow. We're also going to lose the pearl and the starfish as well. So the only thing that is still available is the diver. That is it. That's the only one that won't be blocked by yellow. So that is actually quite a few dice that are being covered for sure. That's quite a lot, right? Quite a lot of dice that are going to get covered by that one color. Well, that was that first part of the setup. Now this is something you're always going to do even in a 4-player game, okay? The next part of the setup is something you're going to do even in a 4-player game, and that is you're going to take 1 dice of each color and roll them. So purple, blue, and that also includes yellow once again because there's still a yellow dice available. That's going to take out 1 orange and 1 green and 1 red. And then we roll these and see what happens. Okay, so blue octopus is gone. The green diver is gone. The starfish, purple starfish, is gone. The red diver is gone. The yellow pearl, which actually it's the orange pearl. The orange pearl is gone, and the yellow octopus is not gone because it is already gone. And so at the end of that, we only have 1 yellow dice left. Obviously, we have only 5 of the other colors too, as well. Okay. So let me just move these aside. Now that we've got the setup taken care of, mostly. So obviously, how many dice placement areas is still luck. It's still going to be lucky to see how many awesome areas are left in this game. You might have a few more in other games than some, obviously. So now, that's not all that's taken care of. As you know, the sea turtle here, the yellow sea turtle, was blocked. Everything that was blocked, so since the sea turtle was blocked for the yellow area, and since the, yeah, it's just that one that was blocked. Only 1 sea turtle was blocked, so we'll have access to 5 sea turtle placements. So you'll actually set this aside outside of the board, even face up. There are other ways of getting treasure chests and sea turtles that have been removed from the game. So, you know, you might still be able to access them by other means. But yes, now there's only 5 areas where you can acquire a sea turtle. And then, let's see, how many octopus are left? Oh, so there's only 4 octopus left. Only 4 octopus placement areas are left. Orange, green has it, red has it, and purple has it, okay? So that's still pretty good. We still have 4 octopus areas. And as far as divers are concerned, we did lose some divers. We don't have the green diver section, and we don't have the red diver, okay? So what's going to happen for the setup is, the treasure chests for those areas will actually get removed. So this treasure chest here will get removed from the equation, and this dice is actually going to, basically float on down to this location here, because you'll notice it also has a dice placement area. So as part of the setup, that will go there, okay? And then obviously the same thing will happen to the red. It will also disappear with the red dice floating down into the treasure chest. Or sinking, I should say, down into the treasure chest. And so we lost 2 treasure chests as well. So we have 4 treasure chests as well. Okay. Now you also notice that does seem to free up these areas. That does mean you can go here. If you get the dice, the green dice, for the diver, okay, you can still place the dice there, because that spot is available. So that frees up an extra slot regardless. You just can't get the treasure chest that was once here. Okay? That's the only problem with that. But basically, that's the setup of the game. We got it all set up now. It's all ready to go. And so let's talk about actually how to play the game.